I recently got back from a trip. As some of you guys know, I live in Florida in the US, and I absolutely love traveling. It's one of my passions, one of my favorite things to do. So we were looking for a trip, just kind of a long weekend, Thursday through Tuesday, somewhere like a quick, easy getaway. My sister-in-law and I were going. And we wanted, again, because we weren't going for very long, we wanted it to be easy to get to, relatively like quick to get to, and didn't cost a lot of money, and somewhere that we could get around okay as far as like language barriers. Her and I both speak a little bit of Spanish, but please disregard anything that I don't properly pronounce in this video. My Spanish is not where it should be, and I'm the first to admit that. So we settled on Buenos Aires in Argentina. Neither of us have ever been. I've never been anywhere in South America, so I was very, very excited. So as we were doing like our research, we kept reading about how like inexpensive it was. There's other videos that talk about like basically trying to spend $10 US in one day and like the difficulty with it. So we were like, we loved that aspect of it, and we were just curious, right? Like if that was gonna really be the case. So here is how much I spent in Buenos Aires for a long weekend. So if you do any research on going to Buenos Aires, you will see that there is different kind of exchange rates, okay? This is like the craziest thing I've ever heard. So one of my clients, she actually had told me about this. She had a friend that lives down there, and she went last year, and so she was telling me about these different exchange rates and how you can get your like official exchange rate, the one that's like sanctioned by the government. But then you also have these blue rates that you can get, and it's not illegal, but it's not quite legal. It's kind of in the middle. I had never heard of such a thing. I've never heard of such a thing. So you do more research, and it still is very confusing, right? So as we were doing our research, we kind of stumbled upon the fact that like using a Western Union would be the easiest way to do the exchange rate, okay? So you get the best rate. So let me back up. The blue rate is this is the one that's not really, official, government official, but it's not illegal. You get the best rate using that, okay? So I can't remember what the red rate was because we knew we weren't gonna use it. We were not gonna exchange money at the airport or banks or anything like that. And I would say absolutely do not do that either if you are planning a trip. You want the blue rate. That's gonna give you the most bang for your buck, especially, if you're coming from the US using dollars, that sort of thing. So when we were going, the first day, we actually had a couple different rates. So the first day we got there, the rate was 720 Argentinian pesos to $1 US. That was the blue dollar rate. Okay, so we were originally thinking we're going to wire ourselves money through Western Union, pick it up at Western Union. During our research, we had seen that if you're going to any smaller parts, smaller cities in Argentina, sometimes the Western Unions can be closed or they don't have pesos, all these things. So we were like, oh goodness. But we also saw that it's wise to bring $100 bills to exchange. Again, we were kind of trying to have like a couple different ways of getting money. Even though we thought in our head we wouldn't be spending that much, of course we still needed to have some. And also come to find out, which I think passed earlier this year, this is right now, as I'm talking to you, it's September 2023. Earlier this year, now the credit cards and a lot of debit cards will also honor that blue dollar rate. So that's wonderful. But a lot of times what they do is they will charge you sometimes, like this is what happened when I used my Amex. When I charged something, it gave me that red rate, and then they gave me a refund. And so it ended up being that blue dollar rate. Now, Anna, my sister-in-law, she used her debit card and it immediately gave her that blue dollar rate. So I know this is a lot of information, but I do want to make this, kind of educational for anyone that's going because it was very confusing for us. There's also another way you can exchange money, and this is like a lot of times on Florida, I think it's Florida Avenue in Buenos Aires, which is kind of like a nicer area. It's like kind of a businessy district, shopping district, and people will basically be saying to you on the street, cambio, I think that's correct. And you like go with them and they've somehow got the money and they exchange it. It's like back alley transaction. And we saw this like a handful of times. Okay, that's too sketchy for me, right? I'm adventurous, but I'm not trying to be like dangerous and go in a back alley with someone I don't know and give them $100. Okay, all of that. The best thing to do is use a Western Union. Like I said, we had originally wired money to ourselves, but come to find out, we found this at a few different Western Unions. We went to pick up the money and it was like down. Their system was down or whatever. So luckily I did bring a couple actual $100 bills and we exchanged those. And that was the best thing to do. And I say specifically $100 bills because at one point my sister-in-law tried to use $20 bills to exchange and she was going to get a worse blue dollar rate. So that's a tip. This is not really a tip video, it's just an informational video, but that would be our tip. Bring $100 bills and just plan to exchange them at Western Union. I think we had one time where they didn't have pesos, so they didn't exchange it, but there's lots and lots of Western Union. So you don't need to worry about sending yourself money. I would bring a small amount of money, but then also like look into your credit cards and debit cards because you'll probably be able to use those too, which is really great. But for things like street vendors and like inexpensive stuff, just like in the States, a lot of people don't want to accept credit cards. It's a fee, all of that. So that's all that. That's the spiel on that. So we get in Friday morning. We had rented an Airbnb. So I will break down, and I'm looking at my notes just so I don't forget anything, and I want to like highlight everything that we did and like the specifics, money that I spent. So the total for our Airbnb, now we were gonna stay Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. We would leave Monday, get back to the States Tuesday. So 3 nights in Airbnb, the total was $209. So just for me per person, we'll say it's like $105. So that's total, but you'll see that I am gonna factor that into like my daily expenses. Another thing, we had a couple things planned. We knew we wanted to go see a tango show, be total tourists. We were, gotta soak up some of that, the culture and the history. And then we also had planned a sailboat ride. Okay, and I'll give you more details on that when I go specifically over the days. So, and then also we had read about how like inexpensive these massages were. So her and I both love going to the spa, and it's such like a treat in the States. And if you are a person that likes to go to the spa, you know how expensive it can be. So we found these 2-hour massages with like this like energy balancing, sound healing, all the things, right? And it was like $60 per person, $60 US. So we're like, let's do it. Cool, that's great. Okay, so those were the things that were like specifically on our list. Other than that, we like wanted to just soak up like the cafe culture, see the historic sites. We loosely followed a 3-day itinerary from another YouTuber. It's called She Run the World, and I will link to that. So we kind of loosely followed that just because we wanted to make sure we didn't miss anything. Well, we switched around our days and didn't do everything, but it was at least a jumping off point, right? So we get in Friday morning, go check into our Airbnb, and then of course, first thing we're like, we've got to figure out this money situation. So we go to the Western Union and we get our money out. And of course, because we're tired, we get a coffee, okay? So day one, Friday, pay $1 for coffee. I think it was a cappuccino or something, $1 for coffee. We then we took an Uber. So that's one thing. I guess I wasn't realizing like how spread out things are. This is a big city. So of course you're gonna like either take public transportation or take like Ubers, and Ubers are very like accessible, and the bus system is fairly easy. We did use that on Saturday, but of course, like you just have to allow yourself like the extra time, and because we weren't gonna be there that long, we did opt to take some Ubers, okay? So I just wanna say that. All right, so we take an Uber to this famous bookstore, which is like, this is like the one thing that I really, really wanted to do. This is like top of my list. El Tieno Gran Splendid. El Ateneo. Sorry, I'm not probably pronouncing it right, but El Ateneo Grand Splendid. Something like that. Anyways, it's an old theater that they made into a bookstore right up my alley. I'm obsessed with reading. I love bookstores. Super, super cool. So I knew I wanted to go and get a book for myself or my kids, or just like, you know, check it out. So we took an Uber there, get there, and of course I bought a book. The book was $5. I bought a kid's book. So from there we took another Uber to a different part of town. And it was this little kind of like food cafeteria type place. It kind of looks like Brooklyn, Williamsburg. It's like under a train, and it was something that came recommended. It's called Avant Garden, and they have a bunch of different types of food places. So we ate at this place. We got, oh my gosh, it was such delicious food. It wasn't, so I'm vegan. It wasn't specifically vegan, like totally vegan, but they had so many options. We got this lentil burger. We got this like detox water. I think Anna got a coffee, and we like split everything, and our total was $10. After that, we kind of walked around, saw the area. There was a lot of geese, and we took videos and sent them to our families, and just kind of walked around and saw some more sights. Then we went back to our Airbnb and just kind of relaxed before dinner. So as you can see, there's a lot of like eating and drinking and all that stuff. So, and by drinking, I mean like coffees. So originally, like I love getting Airbnbs because I love that they have kitchens, and so that you don't have to eat out every meal. So I originally had planned to like go to the supermarket and get some food and not have every meal out. That didn't happen. So my sister-in-law is very much like, okay, we're here, like let's just do all the things. My husband's like this too. It's like, let's just enjoy ourselves. And once we did see like how inexpensive it was, we were like, okay, we're just gonna basically have all of our meals out. I did have like a lot of like breakfast stuff at home, and we had like snacky stuff at home. But anyways, all of this too, I say just to like explain our process and our like kind of our mindset. We weren't going there to like save a ton of money. Like we could have been more thrifty with our spending. This was just kind of like, but once we got there, it was fun to be like, we're just gonna be able to spend our money however we want. It was kind of a unique situation because I think a lot of times, you know, like we still had a budget, but our money just went so far. So I say all this to say, you can do this trip and spend much less than we did even, but even how we did things, kind of splurging, we still did not spend a lot of money. All right, so let me continue. So then we went out for dinner, and we got 2 appetizers, like a pasta entree. This is like an Italian place. There's a big Italian influence there. And it was $25 total. After that, so they really are known for their ice cream. They're known for a lot of, yes, of course, they're like meat and red wines, but also their dairy products are very good. And I was pleasantly surprised that like everywhere we went had really, really good vegan options. Even the ice cream places, any kind of restaurant, like, and they're kind of like in your face about it, like vegan bakery or vegan, you know, so it was really, really refreshing to like see that, not have to like really hunt it down and all that. So shout out to all my, you know, plant-based eaters. You will not have a hard time there, because I was kind of like wondering. So we go out, get some ice cream, paid $1 for it, got a big old thing of ice cream. Okay, so that, we had 3 Ubers that day, and my lodging, which I broke down for like $34 a day. We split the Ubers. So my total for the day was $60.50. Including lodging, including everything we did. Saturday we got up, we decided we were gonna walk to a little coffee shop nearby. We tried to go to this really cool flea market in our area. Oh, let me also say our Airbnb was in a really good area. It was in a good district. Our Airbnb was in Palermo, Soho, which is like a good neighborhood. We felt safe the whole time. It wasn't like a neighborhood known for like late night partying, although I'm sure you could find that close by. So anyway, so we tried to go to this flea market. It wasn't open. We went to this little coffee shop close by. I got a Cafe du Blé and a bottle of water, which that is another thing. Like we never wanted to buy these bottles of water, but somehow like our Spanish was messing up. So we, instead of like ordering a cup, we ended up ordering these bottles of water. So that was another way that we like spent more than we really needed to. And that was frustrating, but because you know, if you've watched my other videos, I always bring my reusable water bottle. Anyways, all right, so bottle of water and a cup of coffee was $2.78. So then from there, we went to the kiosk. From there, we went to the kiosco, which is like a kiosk, obviously, and we tried to get a Sube card. So the Sube card is what you need to ride on like public transportation. And we were wanting to get a bus to take us to our boat ride, which we had that day. All right, so we spent like 250 pesos on this Sube card, which was like 35 cents, okay? And that was gonna get us like from our area of town to the boat ride and back. Great. All right, from there, we navigate that system. It was kind of, I won't say it was difficult, we just got off on the wrong stop, and then we accidentally booked our sailboat tour with a man. We book it as Spanish speakers, so like I guess there was an option, like, okay. Anyways, so then like his directions, when he was trying to tell us where to go, we were getting confused because we weren't really comfortable with that area yet. Anyways, I say all that to say, we took the bus, it was great. We ended up walking probably more than we needed to. But it was actually really benefited us because the man who was the captain of the boat, he tried to say that his English was not very good, but it was really good. So it was like a safe zone for like us to practice our Spanish, get more like used to the area, get his feedback on it. He, was born and raised there. So yeah, that was great. We both got the opportunity to like actually sail the boat. It was just the two of us and him on the boat. We didn't go out very far, but it was a couple hour boat ride. It was a gorgeous day for it. So we had fun with that, but I will say now looking back on it, it was more, I think we spent more money than we needed to. Like, I don't think it was necessarily worth it in some ways. So that was $35 per person. So yeah, anyways, but we got like good suggestions from him, like I said. So from there, we walked to get lunch and we ate at Happening Merienda. We had merienda, and for that meal, it was $10. And it was good. It was good. It wasn't great. It was like very like ritzy. You could tell like people, I feel like, get like bottle service there, and like it's like on the water, and yeah. Okay, so from there we take the bus back to our place, get ready, and then we wanted to go and get like, at this point it's been like a couple hours, okay? So again, we didn't just go from one restaurant to another, but so we get ready and we want to get a bite to eat before our tango show. So we take an Uber to this place called Million, and it was this old house, like maybe 3 floors high, this old like kind of mansion. And they have turned it into this restaurant. Super cool. We ate in this courtyard. We had appetizers and a meal and kind of split everything. She had some a couple glasses of wine. I had a couple non-alcoholic beers, and it was $6 a person. Like, I just love that. It's so crazy. So from there, we took an Uber to the theater, which cost less than $2. And our tango show was $58 per person. So that is expensive, but we knew we wanted to do that. We knew we were gonna want to spend the money on that. We didn't actually see anyone dancing in the street. So originally I was like, oh, we can just see some tango dancers in the streets. They'll be performing and we'll just kind of pay them some money, kind of like how you see. We didn't end up seeing that. So I am glad that we got to like go and experience it. It was way different than I thought it was going to be. You're like at these tables. It's very intimate. It wasn't like in a theater or something. And they're like in and out of like where you're sitting and performing. And it was just a beautiful performance, live band. It was really, really great. So I think I would, again, probably spend that money. All right, and again, $34 for lodging. My total for that day was $154.31. Sunday, we had planned to go to La Boca, Caminito area, and kind of explore that area. So we wanted to go to like the markets and all of that stuff. So we got an Uber there. And then get there, of course, have to get our like daily coffee. I spent $2 on a coffee. Then we kind of walked around the area, didn't buy much more. We were kind of over it after we saw some sights. You know, it's super touristy, it's very busy, loud. But then we saw this little like market. So we went there. I ended up buying a ring for 800 pesos. So it was like $1.16. I'll show you, I'm obsessed with it. It like will go with everything, rose gold and silver. Just, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. From there, we kind of walked around, and then this was the only time we were kind of like, we shouldn't be walking in this area. It's kind of outside of the La Boca. But then once we kind of like got past like a shady spot, like a kind of sketchy area where this guy like asked us to borrow his cell phone, and it was just weird. We got kind of like with a group of people, and we were trying to make our way to San Telmo Market. So anyway, so we did walk there. We went through one little sketchy area, but it was okay. And then we went to this lunch place, had this organic lunch. This was like a mostly vegan restaurant. Again, like incredible food. We got like a burger and salads and some more coffee, of course, and spent $11 total. So we split that. From there, we walked around the market, and my sister-in-law, I was, you know, like open to shopping, and I was kind of wanting to buy like a piece of art. I didn't find anything, but my sister-in-law found something that was super cool. We got to talk to the artist. It was like this yarn work that he makes these faces out of, and he had a story for each one. So we got to like hear the story about her painting. I think she probably spent $10 on it. Super cool. I say painting. It wasn't using paint, but artwork piece. Anyways, as you can see here, super, super cool. From there, we knew we were supposed to try this Cafe Tortoni. So we went there and got, you guessed it, more coffee. Well, before that, we walked around like the Casa Rosada and Plaza de Mayo. You know, like we've kind of the typical that pink building that you see in Argentina, different statues. We went all there, like checked that out. And then we went to this Cafe Tortoni, which is like a historic restaurant, and we got coffee. We ended up getting, did we get anything? Oh, we got coffee and like a little sweet treat, alfajore, and we were like not that impressed, but it's one of those places like you kind of like have to go. Like if you've ever been in New Orleans and you visited Cafe Beignet, nope. If you've ever been to New Orleans and you visited Cafe Du Monde, it kind of reminds me of that. Like it's not necessarily gonna be maybe where you get the best beignets, but like you have to go there because it's just historic. This place reminded me of that type of vibe. Again, we didn't get much to order there, so I could be wrong, you know, it could have been better. Okay, from there, we went to get our massages, which were kind of disappointing, honestly. It was a bummer. Both her and I were like, we tried to like ask them like to do it harder. And again, it wasn't our favorite, but any massage is better than no massage, right? And it was very peaceful and relaxing after we've like been walking and traveling. So Would I do that again? No. All right, then we found this cool, really cute restaurant in our neighborhood. So in Palermo, Soho, and it was, no. I was gonna say it was vegan, but it wasn't totally vegan. Anyways, Obrador, I think it was called. And it was like very small plates, very, very cute. But it was pretty expensive for what we got. Small plates, which didn't fill us up. Whereas everywhere else we had kind of been and like had food, we felt like we got a lot of bang for our buck. We had leftovers or anything like that. We just weren't, it was just kind of expensive for what we were like expecting. We paid $10 for dinner each, like per person. And then of course we got more ice cream. Spent $1 on that. So my total for that day was $130.16. The next day, Monday, we had planned just to kind of like anything we didn't see, we wanted to see that day. We knew we wanted to try some different kinds of pastries and just we wanted to eat pizza at Green? I don't know how to pronounce it. And again, just kind of like see a different area and then we would get an Uber and go to the airport. So we woke up and we did get coffee and vegan pastries at this craft vegan bakery. And I also got like some pastries to take home to my daughter and I spent $5.80. Then from there, we did need to find a place to store our luggage as we looked around, like walked around. So that was $12, but we split that, so $6 a person. That was a frickin' fiasco. We thought we got it at the right place. They didn't know about it. So they didn't take our reservations, so then we had to go to a different place. You know, it wasn't a big deal. We didn't have a lot of time that day, so it kind of wasted time. Anyways, we also were going to like a shopping district. Anna really wanted to do some shopping, maybe find like a leather jacket, leather pants, that type of thing. So like we had some things, like more sites, and we knew we wanted to get souvenirs and she wanted to do some shopping. So we kind of did that. She shopped around. I didn't really find anything. I did get souvenirs for my kids and for my mom, and I spent $8 total on that. And then because at this point, like I still had like a lot of pesos and I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to exchange it back. Especially like at the airport, the rate, again, you wouldn't get as much bang for your buck. I ended up giving like 1,000 pesos to this homeless family that I saw. And I wish I would have given more because it just like they tugged on my heartstrings. And then we got this famous pizza. I spent like $1.50 there, and then we got an Uber to the airport, and that was it. So the total for that day was $28.84. So my grand total for this trip was $374.81. So less than $100 a day when I was there, and including my flight. So I actually had miles. So all I had to do was pay like the service fee. So all in for this trip, for this long weekend in Buenos Aires, from, traveling from Florida, was less than $500. Love it, love it, love it, love it. We had such a great time there too. It's super casual there. Like, so we were going during their winter, it was cool, which we were so happy to escape like the Florida heat. Like I said, it was very casual. Like it's not high fashion. Like you don't have to worry about like getting super dressed up. Anything kind of goes. And we love just like being able to spend our money like how we wanted. I love going out to eat. Love, love, love it. I am not big on cooking. And so I love to be able to do that. Like that was super fun. And the people were so friendly, so nice. I would say that like, it definitely is a country that you need, some countries you can go to and they speak English. So you kind of have a backup, even if that's not their, primary language. But here I would definitely say like we ran into a handful of people that did not speak any English. So you do have to know some Spanish to get by. So I'm still like pressing myself to like learn more, and I'm trying to like teach my daughter, and she takes lessons. And I think that's definitely a good skill to have. But yes, I would highly suggest it. I can't wait for another trip. I think the next time I go to Argentina, I would love to go to like the Patagonia area, Patagonia region, do some hiking, do that sort of thing. So yeah, we had a great time and just, you know, a lot of walking. Even though it sounds like we took a lot of Ubers and public transportation, we did, but we still logged, I think, like 8 miles a day. You know, I love that. I love that. Just walking and exploring a new place. So have you been? Let me know, or actually let me know what's the cheapest place you've been to. It could be in the States, out of the States, wherever you are, like that you were just like, holy moly, my money goes so far here. I want to hear about it. I want to go. Stay tuned each week for new videos, and please subscribe. Like I said before, it's free to you and it really means the world to me. Thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to y'all soon.